Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is also sponsored by High Point Access. Thank you to them for their support. They are your number one stop shop for all your working at heights and roofing needs. If you mention the Blades Ramble when booking any works with them, you'll also get 10% off. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is 3 Mardy Blades. We're actually on the main channel. I don't even know if I've told the boys that tonight, but thank you to everybody for joining us. And yeah, 3 Mardy Blades means I'm not on my own. So let's welcome in me 2 mates. First up, what a man, what a view.
This is a view from the mountain with a heart so pure it's astounding. Man, mountain strong and true. What a man, what a view.
Now then, Mr. Mountain, how's it going, pal?
And well, thanks, Jim. You kept that one quiet at the main channel. I was like,
apologies. I didn't mean
I
to
did
mention
quick.
it.
Yeah.
What are them? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, mate, our trio is not yet complete because we need the man in who really knows. So here he is. It's Dave the Nose.
Dave the Nose, he really knows where the wind, I know whispers blow. Smelly break, he's in the know. Dave the Nose steals the show.
Dave the Nose. How's it going, Davey boy?
I'm well. Are you?
Yes, I'm very well, mate. Thank you. I'm still absolutely bouncing after that Steel City Derby win. I mean, we can start with that if you want, boys, but I just wanted to know how you were, really. How's your first few days of the week been? First couple of days? It's been all right? A little bit of a spring in our step? Yeah, we might have done, mate. We might have done. Unbelievable.
Does that mean Wednesday lost both of them this season?
It does, Dave. It does. I know you're doing a little bit of a bit here, but yeah, it does.
No. Oh, no. Anyway, I'm all right. I've had a really good week.
Like
Nice.
that, Dave. Get as close as you can to the camera and pretend you don't know what's happening. That's good.
So, lads, where do we want to start? In fact, let's say hello to everybody that's here. Evening 3MB, says Ian. The case for Rhian. Oh, my goodness. There's a few here, actually. There's a few.
Rating.
I know. It goes into a bit of detail as well.
Days with that lot. Look at the state of that.
Okay. Evening 3MB is the case for Rhian, most gifted young player, under 17's World Cup Golden Boot winner, was so highly thought of by Klopp, he demanded a sizable buyout clause. Unluckily, it suffered several severe injuries, which hampered his progress and confidence when he came back each time, but worked incredibly hard to get back. This is the first season without major injury, and his confidence. As his confidence in his body has grown, so has his confidence and performances have improved, picking the right decisions. Okay, rather than snatching at long-range efforts in desperation, as he was prone to, trying too hard to make something happen, making contributions consistently, either as a starter or from the bench. He's only 24 with the best years in front of him. I also believe, from reports, he's the third wheel in the leadership group. Oh, hang on, we're not finished. How much would it cost to replace him? Still got the same potential as when we bought him 5 years ago, Ian. I rest my case for keeping the lad. Haven't even mentioned he put the ball in the Wednesday net. Dave, are you keeping Rhian Brewster?
No.
Paul, are you keeping Rhian Brewster?
I might surprise
You're always... I was doing a bit.
you,
I was doing a bit, and you knew it.
Can I surprise you? If we go to the Premier League...
I like Rhian Brewster.
If we go to the Premier League, the only reason we do it is if we could say we could try and raise a transfer fee for him, because you can't think possibly that he can play for us in the Premier League.
Agreed.
Sure. Because he just hasn't done it anywhere near consistently enough to play for us you know, for us in the Championship, and he's been here such a long time. So I would be willing to talk, like you said, there are different circumstances now, and I'd be willing to think about it if we stayed in the Championship. So if we don't get promoted, I think he's a useful player, as he's kind of proved a little bit at times this season in this league. If we get promoted, we can't think, oh yeah, we're going to sign him and have him as our third or fourth striker. It can't happen.
Dave, any thoughts on that?
In my opinion.
Yeah, I thought we were only getting one word. So
yeah, I thought you were supposed to really. I thought it were going to be a little bit where we could all go say no, and then we move on. But so Paul's given his reasons for potentially, if we're still a Championship team, there's an argument to keep him. Do you agree with that at all?
I think my internet has been really, really rubbish.
It's Nick Jimmy's, hasn't he? Jimmy's old one.
Yeah, who's your provider, Dave?
Same provider you have for now.
We want to sponsor this guy. The amount of trouble that you put us through. Unbelievable.
So I'll try and get through this without it cutting out. I'll caveat it by saying that as a person, I think he's absolutely brilliant.
It's not you, it's us.
No. I'll get there. So, yeah, as a person, he's absolutely brilliant. And I would love it if I was proven wrong, as much as I like being right. But as Paul's alluded to, I mean, where we're looking at heading in terms of promotion and the ultimate aim of being a sustainable Premier League club, up front, along with a few other positions on the pitch, we're not at the level by, in some cases, some distance from where we need to be in order to become a sustained Premier League club. Because of that, we have to make some pretty tough decisions. I don't think he's a 10. I know Wilder's like to play in there. I think he's a 9, but I don't know at what level that is at. And I think for himself, I've said this before, I think he needs to go and find somewhere where he can really start to build up some momentum, score goals, and find whatever level that he's going to be at. And if it's not quite at Premier League level, that doesn't mean he's a bad player. It's just that level is so high and it's so difficult to play at. Yeah. And I just think we have to think like that. I think if we were happy being at this level, we were going to stick around this level. Yeah, if the deal was going to be right, then yeah, I would probably offer him maybe a 1. But
even then, though, and look, I'm with you, Dave. I think great kid. I was delighted for him on Sunday. Absolutely, which I think all Blades were. Whether you rate him as a player or not, you can't not be happy for the lad because of what he's been through in his difficult time with us. But we are, if we are nailing him to a position, I think most of us lean towards him being a number 9. There is caveats in there that he's a flexible player in terms of he can play the 10. Whether you rate him there is a different thing. He has played out wide right and sometimes wide left. So there is a little bit of flexibility in his game where he's sort of loose cover for those positions, if you like. But his ultimate game is a number 9. That's what we signed him to be anyway, at least. And if we think about whether we're promoted or not promoted, he's the 4th choice striker at the moment. So why are we, if you know, is it just because he's a nice kid? Is it just because he's been a huge letdown in terms of what was expected initially? I think if we taking the sentiment out of it, I don't think you sign him.
Honestly, I think if he didn't have his personality, I think he'd have gone 2 years ago.
But that's poor, though, isn't it?
He does try. Not poor, but he tries hard. He does try. You can't fault him for. He can't fault his effort level and what he tries to do. It's just. I agree.
I agree, and there's no guarantee we win that game without him on Sunday. So he has played his part, but I just can't find an argument to say because if everybody's fit, all 4 strikers are fit. He's last in the pecking order for most of us. I know some people will argue about Kiefer Moore because he hasn't overly impressed. You might try and argue about Tom Cannon, which I think is a little bit ridiculous at this stage because Tom Cannon hasn't had enough time to settle. Tyrese Campbell is our number one striker, no doubt about it. I had an argument today. I recorded a podcast with Connor and Joe. So Connor from One Leeds and Joe from Turfcast. Content's coming out over the next 10 days or so over the international break. And I was strong in saying, who is better than Tyrese Campbell in this league at the minute as a number 9? I don't think there is. And it's crazy to say, really, because he came in with such little fanfare and he wasn't seen to be a brilliant signing for us. What a coup that we've got him for nothing. It was just the rise and the importance that he has in our team now. I wouldn't. Who would you swap him for in this league? If you had a chance to swap him for any striker, I don't think you would. You look at Leeds, they've not really got an out-and-out striker. Pirro's a striker-ish. Burnley haven't got a number 9. Sunderland, Isidore, maybe at a push. Maybe in terms of raw ability and talent and probably ceiling. That's maybe the one that you argue. But other than that, I'm more than happy with Tyrese Campbell in our side. And I think he's going to get a chance. If we're promoted, I think he'll get a chance in the Premier League as well. So... yeah, I don't know how I got onto that Tyrese Campbell tangent, but it's yeah.
Well, Dave we were talking about it, weren't we? After the game and the reaction, and I remember Dave was talking about we signed him on a punt because we'd said that about a year ago, didn't we? Do you remember we were sat round?
Yes,
might have been around. We signed him on a punt. It was a £20 million punt on a player that we thought had done it at Championship level for Swansea, and that we thought was going to be someone who could step up and bridge the gap to be a Premier League footballer, hence the sum. Yeah. The same kind of thing with Ollie McBurney, tearing it up for Swansea again in the Championship, an absolute weapon, terrible to play against.
Yeah,
everything else. There was a feeling he was the best of the Championship who could have made the step up and would have been, because of his strength and aerial presence and what have you, he could have been somebody who could go to the Premier League and score 10 goals and put us in the frame for staying alive, basically. So yeah, I agree with Dave on that. It was a punt because he was unproven. He was a young kid, and yeah, he has been unlucky with injuries. But I was saying that for £20 million, players who are worth 20 million quid, even if they're a punt, in my opinion, should be coming to the Championship and scoring consistently for that kind of wedge, in my opinion. Dave disagreed a little bit, but I don't know that many. I know there is some that get bought and they're terrible buys from the Premier League. They come down, they're useless and never play again and whatever. But I'd have thought with him, knowing what we knew from Swansea, I think Wilder would have thought we were buying guaranteed goals at Championship level, seeing what he'd done at Swansea and seeing the outlay and the potential that we thought was there. So I do feel for him in terms of his injuries, and we know that injuries can be the end of things, can't they? Jack O'Connell being a great example, and John Ebrell many years ago, being the big example. But it was, I just feel like he's had 4.5 years, lads, and if you're going to play that position, it's what you bring to the table. Like even Callum O'Hare, I think he's got 6 assists and a couple of goals, and we forgive him because of all the other stuff in the build-up and everything else he brings to the table, the energy levels, etc., etc., etc. We forgive him in there for that because of that. And with Brewster, if he's going to be that link guy, we've got what we're talking about, a couple of assists and a few goals. Is it enough for us to go, right, let's renew his contract? He's been here 5 years, and arguably this is his best season, which is what we said as well. So it is really tricky. If you were the owners and you're not in love with Rhian Brewster like the rest of the players, the staff, a lot of the fans are, and you come and you look at it in brass tacks and go, right, what's this, Chris? You want to renew this lad? Let's make a case. And you can't have a striker or someone in that position who is there just trying hard because that just stinks of you going down. Because even if he'd scored 20 goals for us, and if he had set 8 assists and all, the numbers were stacking up even at Championship level, we'd still have to go and buy a couple to go and compete at Premier League level, even if he was doing that. Do you know what I mean? We'd still have to go and get some other players. Do we actually see him breaking into the team, or do we see him? Could we see him come on for 10, 15 minutes and bring some energy to the table? Has he got the quality at Premier League level to affect the game? Because at Championship level, he's never found consistency for me.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we're just coming off probably the best result of the season in terms of the feeling around the club. And you know what I mean? In terms of getting the second victory over them this season. And we are discussing, a negative, if you like, or something that we're not. But I think it's worth the conversation, because we are talking about helping this club progress. And how do we progress as a football club? And not sort of letting sentiment get in the way of it. And that's been Chris Wilder's rhetoric since he's come in. Obviously, a lot of legends, really, of the club. When you talk about players like John Egan, Ollie Norwood, George Baldock, Ender Stevens had gone slightly before that, I think, but they've all left the club, and there's been no sentiment involved when they did leave. In terms of George would have loved to have kept, but it were a brilliant opportunity. God rest his soul. But Ollie McBurney may have signed had he not had a brilliant offer from Spain. That you can look at each one individually, but ultimately we've moved on. We've recycled the squad, and it's not been based on sentiment. So you look at players like Rhian Brewster. I'm going to chuck Jack Robinson in there as part of the conversation, which a lot of people will want. He's a little bit different because it sounds like he's going to automatically renew for a year. But if we're going to get promoted to the Premier League, you can't just sign them because they're good characters. You've got to think that they are Premier League ready, at least to have a good go in the Premier League. We're still going to have conversations about players like Harrison Burrows in the Premier League. Is he good enough to step up? I think he'll get a chance in the Prem. And he's been great for us this season. But they're the sort of questions you need to have when you're going up. Is he going to be able to cope with the Premier League? He stepped up brilliantly to the Championship. It maybe took him 2 or 3 games to adjust a little bit. He's not always been at his best. But I think for a young player coming into a Championship side, top end as well, it's going to be interesting to see, if we're fortunate enough to get promoted, how he adapts to the Premier League. They're the sort of, I think there's only really Michael Cooper that a lot of us are saying he will take to it like a duck to water, because it oozes class. But the rest of them, Callum O'Hare's another one, been very good, and for the odd 1 or 2 games has been a consistent starter every week for us when he's been fit. We don't know how he's going to adapt to the Premier League. So why are we, somebody like Rhian Brewster, if we've 90% of us doubt his ability at Premier League level, why are we even entertaining a new contract for him? And that is purely taking out sentiment. And it sounds harsh to even say it like that, but I think we've got to think about what's best for the club.
Mate, if we're going to go up and have anything like, with the gap that's been created now between the teams coming up and going down, if we're going to have even a cat's chance in hell of staying alive, we've got to go and sign 5 or 6 guys.
Starters,
that are not just starters, Jim, that are arguably better than Gus Hamer, who we widely acknowledge as our best player.
Absolutely.
We've got to get 6 guys, at least, for me, who are actually better than him.
Yeah, down the spine as well. 2 in defence, 2 in midfield, 1 up front, maybe even the 10, even better than Gus and Callum O'Hare. So you're right, mate. It's going to be, we obviously need wingers if we're sticking with this formation as well. We've not settled on a right back all season. There's loads of work to do, and just keeping players around because we think they're a great character and the lads love him. It's not the one, is it?
Just to add to that, he said about his flexibility. I don't think we'll play with a 10 in the Premier League.
No, I agree.
I think we'll play like a 4-3-3 almost.
Yeah, like a flat 3 at middle, won't we?
Yeah, like when we went up last time. And we
the 10 drops back into the centre, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it raises questions for Callum O'Hare about how much he might necessarily play or he's got to adapt. I just think it closes another door for Rhian. Paul's right. I think 6 might even be a conservative estimate on what we need to bring in.
I think we'll keep a lot of our players, and I think the ones that we believe are I think if you put the right players in and around them, we believe may be able to step. And I mean, Cooper, yes. Ahmed Honzic, probably with the right partner.
Yeah.
We talk about Burrows potentially.
Hopefully.
We think Hamer. We think Sousa could fit in. And after that, Arblaster, possibly Campbell. And
possibly Campbell. And we've just spoken about him perhaps being the best striker in the league at the moment. So that shows the gap, doesn't it?
We'll need another 2 strikers. I personally think we'll sell more. And obviously with that, we talk about Rhian. We've got to go and get 2 guys again who are on paper arguably better than what we've got at the moment. I think there's a place for Campbell. He's been so impressive this season. He has done well for us when we were there in the first place. I believe that he might form part of that 3 or 4 for up top. We'll definitely keep Cannon because of the investment.
Yeah,
we might keep Diaz to play on that left, but for that,
I think we should keep Diaz.
We need something different for me. I think we need somebody who can beat their men 1-on-1. You know, look at what Ipswich. Ipswich had these ideas, didn't they? Smodics and Clark and Hutchinson and all these guys. We need guys who are probably better than they've got. So look at Ipswich and nowhere near it. They're not gonna. They're gonna. All 3 are just gonna drift at distance.
I look at players like.
By the way, Smodics, Clark. They are top players. Top players.
Yeah, they are.
And none of us would take. You know, again, not digging him out. None of us would take Brewster over them. So it's like you've got to start being like Wilder was at the start of the season. The sentiment needs to disappear.
Absolutely. And you think about things like if you look at Joe Geldart, for example, not getting in at Leeds, goes out on loan to Hull and has a really good championship season because he's getting minutes and he's being consistent. I mean, I know he's only been there the second half of the season, but Darko JB's another one from Leeds setup that's gone out to Plymouth and played almost every game. I think we've got to look at that for somebody like Andre Brooks, who I don't think will get a sniff in the Premier League next season if that's where we are. Again, we've got to caveat it with that because there's a long way to go yet, and we'll talk about that as well if we get to it. But I think we've got to look at some of these players who aren't going to get the development. I think Sidney Peck's done enough to stay in and around the squad next season, no matter what league we're in. You could say he's not going to get as many minutes, but that's probably right because if we've still got Vinny Sousa, hopefully we're playing Gus Hamer in the middle and Ollie Arblaster, then that's a great midfield 3. It's not necessarily Premier League hardened or anything like that, but it's half a chance for us. I think they are 3 really good players. So it's exciting to think of what we could do. I don't think Rhian Brewster is going to be a part of it. I'm conscious that we've not got through any other comments other than Ian's first pitch. But it's worth having a chat about, I think, because it's a serious conversation. He's obviously fresh in everybody's mind. He's got the goal that will write his name in history, which is brilliant for him. Because he won't just be remembered as the kid who never met his potential who were always injured. He will also be the lad, because that will come into it. When you're looking back, he'll also be the lad that sealed the double of a Sheffield Wednesday. So, you know, I mean, it could have been any player there to tap it in. It wasn't a miracle goal or anything, but he was the one, and I think a lot of us are very happy about that. David says, season, just to rub it in, next 3 games are massive. I don't know where season comes in. Just to rub it in, the next 3 games are massive. So we've got Coventry. Who's after that? Cov. I'll tell you now. Oxford away and Millwall at home. I think the next game, I know you're looking at the next 3, but I don't think we'll look past Coventry, because if we get through that game, if we get 3 points against Coventry after the victory at Hillsborough, I think it's absolutely huge for the club. And look, we could easily slip up against somebody like Oxford, which would be a huge kick. But to beat Coventry, who are banging form, I think would be a huge statement. Jord Motson says, evening all, still on cloud 9 after Sunday. What a day, what a team, and what a channel. Top man. Just about come round from overdoing the after party celebrations. Thank God. Up all the rambles, like and subscribe. For those that don't know, Jord did our ramble on the road. I think I've got it here actually. Jord did our ramble on the road for the game. If you haven't already seen it, then please go across and watch it and give him a comment, because it was absolutely fantastic. It is a bit like Man Mountain's view from the mountain. It is outstripping my video that I did the following day for views. So thank you to everybody that contributes to the Ramble, but you're all bad because you're all getting more views than me. So I don't know if that's telling me something, but congrats to Jord. That were absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed his Ramble on the road. Let's have a look. Where are we with these comments then? David says, evening, Jimmy, Paul. I don't know why these comments are so big, Dave. I do apologise for covering your face. David says, evening, Jimmy, Paul and Dave. Looking forward to this so much to go through a new contract for a certain player. Our gaffer getting under the pork, scratching skin, and does data win games. Up all the Rambles, up the mighty Blades, or the Mardy Blades, I assume. Chris Wilder then. Dave, thoughts on Chris Wilder's post-match? Did you love it? Did you think it were a bit OTT? Somewhere in the middle? What are your thoughts, pal?
Loved it. Thought it was great. Brilliant.
Yeah, me.
Brilliant.
Me. Yeah, it's definite need. It showed me, and correct me if you disagree, but showed me that he takes everything in, and he certainly takes a little bit of it personally. He handled it very professionally, channeled it in exactly the right way, but then he always has to release that valve at the end, doesn't he? He always has to sort of, you can talk about your data, you can talk about this, this, and this. The only thing that matters is we've got the 3 points again this season. He talks an awful lot for a manager who's not won a Steel City derby. He's not won anything in his career. And you think, it's a bit much, but I love it. I love it. It weren't too much for me. I think he's, you know what I think of him anyway. Paul, what were your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, I did like parts of it. I thought it was quite clever, but bits and bobs. But I'd rather that kind of that looking back sort of viewpoint. I'd rather that when it's done, when the deal is sealed,
End of season.
I'd rather hear that on the last day when we know our fate and we know what's going on a little
like
bit.
the Muppets from Leeds.
I want that to hold, because there was the thing about ending Wednesday's season, which I know he was poking the bear with, and I agree. I think that it's a big ask for them to go and do it now, but it's like everything. It's like saying the next 3 games. It's very, very comprehensible that all 3 of those top 3 teams win all. All right, Dave, you're having a snooze. Right,
It's Cameron froze. It's Cameron froze when he blinked.
So no, sorry to bore you, Dave. But anyway, the next 3
I'm
matches.
used to it.
But do you know what? But you know what?
It
all
is the
3 teams.
snooze. Go on.
Oh, he's mad now. Don't make
Can
him
I
mad.
finish?
Sorry.
Can I finish?
Yeah, sorry.
No, right. No, so the next 3 games, conceivably, Jim. Oh yeah, massive. But actually, if all 3 teams win all 3 games, which is more than capable of happening, looking at the records of all these teams, then we're right where we are now, and it won't make any difference, because what we'll still have to do is beat Burnley's results, and that could be the reality, and it is not beyond the realms of any betting man to think that we could go win all 3 of them and then still be 2 points ahead of Burnley. The truth about this season, Jim, and the crazy reality of this season, here it is. Burnley could go through this season, concede 15 goals in the league all season, lose 3 matches, including the playoff final, and still end up in the Championship next season. That is
on something like 93 points.
And that's the bar. That's the bar. 3 defeats all season, 15 goals potentially conceded.
49 games.
Not promoted to the Premier League. That is where we are. So it's all right saying that. Wednesday, right? They don't look like they're as good as 3 or 4 of the teams that are in and around that. And I've written them down. Who are they? So Cov, West Brom, Bristol and Middlesbrough, I believe, have a bit more on paper, a little bit more than they do. But if Wednesday win 3, the next 3 out of the next 4, they're going to be right there. Okay, they are going to be right.
Big if though. I mean, there's so much traffic around them. That's the problem. It's not the points.
Who would say that's not possible? It is possible for them to win 3 out of the next 4.
Always possible in Championship, innit? That's why we love it.
100%. Coventry have got to play all the big sides. They've got to play. They've got to play us. They've got to play Leeds. They've got to play Burnley. They could lose all 3 of them and just
Have they got to play Leeds?
Have they? Haven't they?
I don't know. No, I think they've played them twice. I might be wrong. They've certainly got to play us and Burnley.
Us and Burnley. So if they lose those 2, they might lose another couple, and then they're out the hunt. Although it doesn't look like that. 12 games ago, you wouldn't have been sat here going, "Well, Coventry are nailed on for the playoffs and all that."
No,
because they've been on this amazing run that nobody, you could say,
Sunderland 3-0.
They've got quality in the team, but no one was going, "Oh, they're going to win 9 of the next 10." No, nobody would have said that.
No.
So, and there's still 8 games to go. The 8 games, there's a lot of points that are still available. 24 points still to play for. Some of these teams might end up whacking in 20 points out of that lot, or 20. You just don't know. So it's like, this is the excitement we've got. But for me, in previous years, I'd love to be sat where we are now. And usually what we've done and what Burnley have done and what Leeds have done is enough to give you that cushion. Normally you've got a 10-point gap now.
Yeah.
You're looking around going, well, just, we beat these, we're going up. It's not like that this season. It's completely different. And
it's horrible, isn't it?
We could win the next 5, Jim, and still not be guaranteed anything.
Thing is, I know we're talking about the next 3 games. Coventry worries me. I'm not going to start worrying about it yet. But I'm not thinking about it yet. They have won 10 out of the last 12. It's ludicrous to think that we can just look past them. It's very, very plausible that they get at least a point against us, which, if Burnley win, means we're 3rd again. So, do you know what I mean? It's we have to be in front of Burnley going to Turf Moor. We have to be, because otherwise it's a real tough ask. A real tough ask. Personally, that's my opinion.
If you'd have said to Leeds 4 games ago, you're gonna win 1 of the next 4, they'd have gone, "You're mad. You're mad." And
we're smashing teams. We're blowing them away. Yeah,
that's what's happened, isn't it?
But they come back and they play Swansea at home, who were awful against Burnley. So I fancy him to get back on the horse, to be honest. Chris, the Sheffield double blades are still. Sorry, Dave. Go on, mate.
Before you go into that, I was just going to say with this Wilder thing, just to finish it off.
Yeah.
We said before how clever he is when he's talking to the press.
Yeah.
Maybe look at it as a bit of a rallying call rather than having a pop at other teams. It's a bit of a look where we are. All this noise around us talking about these other teams, but let's look where we are. Get everybody. We're going into this break. We know how it can be notoriously difficult normally for us to get ourselves going straight after an international break, and we're going into a very, very difficult game. I saw it as that. I saw it as not jobs done or overconfidence or anything like that. Very much as a let's look where we are, guys. Let's celebrate tonight, and let's bring this noise for these last 8 games because we've done incredibly well.
We believe that we're the best team in this league that's won the most points in this league. I love that way of looking at it. Chris says, still excited from Sunday. Haven't seen anyone walking about in a blue and white shirt. When they win, they're all over the place. Keep up the good work, lads. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, pal. Ray says, late call-ups to the England squad announced Cooper, Brewster and Tyrese Campbell. Thoughts, lads? Maybe one of them. Tyrese might be unlucky to miss out, but Coops has got to be in there someday. Up the Blades of Paul, the Rambles. Like and subscribe. Nige says, good evening, gents. Hope everyone's well. Well, today is Tuesday and still no sign of the S6 internet getting back online. While at work, all I do is smile and it winds them up. Pure gold. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, pal. Nige also says, Roy's view from the pigs part 1 and 2 just shows how delusional they are and how much Wilder lives rent-free in their heads. Like and subscribe. He has absolutely rattled them, no doubt about it. It was intended to rattle him as well because the stick he got coming off the bus as well. He's loved that. He's absolutely dined out on beating him. Evening Rambler says, Tim, he makes a good case for Brewster and he's only 24. Wilder appears to rate him still, I think, worth a contract for sure, even if we eventually end up selling him. Charlie says, still buzzing. Even my ex was interested. Okay. Maury says, good evening, 3MB and fellow Ramblers. Who's still enjoying that win on Sunday? Yes, mate. Absolutely we are. Just United. Ricky says, hello, guys. Nice, well-earned rest for the players. Now they've painted the town red. On to the next. Frank Lampard's Coventry. Big task at hand. But if we play as one, we win. Up the Ramble. Luke says, yes, lads, I think if we beat Coventry, we have a huge chance of autos. I think if we get round them, the other games on paper are a lot easier. Burnley also have to go away to Cov, so that may be a draw. Burnley also play Bristol City, who obviously gave us a bit of a torrid time as well. Dublin Blade says, I heard today that if we get 9 more away points, we equal the best points tally and create a new record with 10 points since the championship was reconstructed. Would that mean that we have to win all 3 and draw the remaining? I think we've only got 4 away games left, so we can't lose a game to get that record. So we're away at Oxford, away at Plymouth, away at Burnley, and away at Stoke. So if you think we draw at Burnley and win the rest, then we could create that new record. But it's a big ask, isn't it? A big ask. One a man, one a view, says Morey. Could Coops be England's #1 for the World Cup in 2026? No. Whether he should or not is a different conversation. I still think Dean Henderson could well be England's #1 around that time as well, personally. Jordan Pickford's not really let the country down either. He should definitely be in the conversation, though, to be in the squad for me, or over somebody like Aaron Ramsdale. And maybe if he's playing in the Premier League next season, he's in that discussion. Dave the knows. He really knows, says Morey. He certainly does. Nath says, they were everywhere. They're everywhere. They're nowhere, baby. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Top man. Jim, where the heck did you get the intro from for Man Mountain and Dave the Nose? Brilliant. They are AI specials, pal. You just have a little mess about with the lyrics that you want to go in. Loved Rob Stanton's little rant. I heard bits. I don't know about his rant, but I heard bits of it Football 11 tonight. Jim, if Robinson had scored the goal against the Pigs, would he have become a legend? He'd have been remembered. Evening Jimmy, says Sarah. Evening Jimmy, Dave, and Paul, and all the Ramblers, says Sarah. Good evening, Sarah. Nige says Chris. Anyone becomes a legend, whoever scores the winner against the Pigs. I agree with that, Nige. I agree with that. Really enjoyed George's match day vlog, Jimmy, but I don't know what the new sponsors think from across the road. Sponsors think from across the road. Oh, it's same ownership, because he were in Panenka at the end, so it's the same ownership that sponsors Selena. So we're good. Thanks, guys. Great stream. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Craig. Walter says, replace Brewster with, he deserves a new contract. Don't worry, Dave's internet's still down in a 6. Some say the power's cut in that area. Jimmy says, thanks, Jordan, for the ramble on the road. Hearing young Blades screaming really brings the emotions out. God bless all our young Blades. They are the future. They certainly are. Thanks, Brewster, for the history you created yesterday. But we're a business, not a charity. So no, enjoy your time with Hecky. Wow. James says 2-year deal for me. If we end up going for and coming back down, we will need him. How confident are you, lads, that we go up? Straight up question. I don't mind which year jumps in first. Dave's going to wait to see what Paul says, I think. If anything goes by normal state of play. Makes that like he's thinking.
I'll go if you want.
Go on then.
I think we do. I think we go up.
Okay.
Pretty confident, yeah.
Paolo?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it's going to go all the way. I think it'll go to the Stoke game for us. I'd love to be there on the Saturday for the last game of the season with it all sewn up, and I think that's hopefully how it's going to be.
What an atmosphere that Blackburn game will be. If it's still like if we're not out of it, as in like we've dropped away.
If we're going in there,
or there's still something to play for.
Yeah, if we need to win, it'll be horrible.
It depends. If we need to win, but we're above Burnley by a point, say. So if we win it, we know we're up. I think we smash them. Like we're like that with Ipswich.
Yeah, I just think it'll be really, as an atmosphere, I just think it'll be really nervy. Really nervy.
I remember, I know it's not the same thing, but I was there for Wigan. I was a kid on my knees in front of the telly when Mark Steen did it the last day. I like the fact it was taken out of our hands when when they're all in the canteen watching the game when we won it the other time. Do you remember? Have you seen the pictures?
Yeah,
of that?
yeah. I can remember them all just throwing beers everywhere.
Throwing bananas. I'd love it to go like that. That's how I really want it to happen. But also, let's look on the other hand, shall we, Jim? So the fear and trepidation of the derby. Think about that last day. If we do the business on the last day and get up, that's the pendulum swings the other way then, don't we? This being a big game, brilliant, but that will be one hell of a game and one hell of a day. So it's exciting, boys. It's really exciting, isn't it?
It is, and I don't want to put a dampener on it, but I want your honest opinions on it. If we get pipped to second, do you give us a chance in the playoffs, or do you think we're too wounded from dropping out?
Am I going first this time?
You have to.
I think I have to. Yeah. Well,
do you fancy us in the playoffs if it comes to that?
Why don't I fancy us? We keep
because
clean
of the way we've fallen into it.
We keep clean sheets, and I think we're playing. I think we've got more rhythm in our play now than we did. Oh,
no, you're good. You're good. You're back.
I can't see myself, so it's a bit odd, but I'm not sure what's happened there.
Don't worry, we can. That's all that matters, mate.
That's all that matters.
And it's wonderful.
Keep those viewers high.
Shut up. Right. I came back. I can't see myself. So I lost my train of thought. So what we're saying, we're oh God, what was I saying?
You were saying,
I don't believe we'd be out of it by any means. No, I think I don't fear anyone in this league, and I don't see why we should. We played against Leeds, who are widely acknowledged as the team to beat in this league.
Oh, we've earned less points than us, by the way.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, and I thought we went toe to toe with them, and I think they're inconsistent. And they've shown that in the last few times. I say inconsistent. I mean, you look at the tallies for all three. Nobody's inconsistent really, but Leeds more recently have been a bit inconsistent, and I've watched them and been like, that's not. They don't look great. I thought QPR more than deserved what they got. So any given Sunday, it's all to play for. I think for the first time in quite a while, I look through our team, and at this level, we've got match winners. We have this team. So I think that Diaz is a match winner. I think that Hamer is a huge match winner, and Tyrese Campbell is a match winner. And I think as long as we're in games, and we've got that link-up play, we've got a chance of beating anybody. So why on earth? I mean, look, again, more wins. We keep saying it, more wins than anybody else. Teams won't want to face us in the playoffs. That's for sure. Look at the record we've got at the moment. So no, I'd be more than not happy. I know.
More than confident.
Yeah, but I don't. I think it would be a huge. I don't think we need to put ourselves under the pressure of, we deserve to go up with third, etc., because we know it doesn't work like that in the playoffs. I think that it's been proven. It must be our time to win one, surely, Jim. Must be. The
top three, we thought the top four, and I still think the top four are the best four teams in, but I do think the top three are the best three teams in the league. So it's, in terms of the fanciers, it's just, I think so much of it is mindset. Dave, you've had Mr. Mountain's positive spin on it as usual, which we all appreciate. Now for a more realistic take from Dave the Nose.
It reminds me of how we used to dread the thought of penalty shootouts watching England. And then I can't remember who we were playing when we finally won one in a tournament. And you almost felt that pressure lift off. And now we don't worry about them so much. And at some point, the law of averages says we'll do it. So I don't want us to have to go through it, but I'm not totally petrified by the idea.
Okay.
Paul's right. We have got match winners in there. We've got quality in there.
And we've done really well away from home.
We have, yeah.
We've done ever so well away from home, and it's all and like in the past playoffs have been like nervy occasions, haven't they? Because you don't want to go away and get beat. You put 10 men behind the ball. It's different now without the away goal, and we've done well away from home. It almost suits us, teams having to come for us, and then us hitting them on the break. It obviously does depend a little bit on, you know, I feel like we've got 2 or 3 players that have to stay fit.
Yeah,
because there are certain members of this team that are just so essential. I think we've done so well yesterday without Vinny. I think Vinny's really important to us.
I agree.
But if Hamer,
Cooper,
Hamer, Cooper, and
Campbell.
they are 3 guys that we need to stay fit and stay on form. They're really, really important to us. I know that every team's got them.
You could even say Burrows, because the replace Sam McCallum going in there doesn't make you as confident, does it? Because if Hamer comes out of the team, you could maybe put Brereton. Well, you would put Brereton Diaz on the left and Raksaki comes in. Or if you're talking in the middle, then it's Peck and Souza or something like that. But yeah, we've just got to be a little bit careful, I think, with some of them. What we're going to do, go out and spend multiple millions on a striker, that would be utter dog, says Dog Crap, says Walter. That'd be half of the team gone then, because we'll struggle in the Premier League. Lee says, would I personally keep Brewster? No. Would I be upset if we gave him a 1 or 2 year deal in our favour financially? No. He has shown flashes of quality, but far too infrequent due to injuries. What are his stats, says Charlie? No idea, pal. You mean Brewster? I don't know. Does anybody know? Paul, you are the most likely to know, but I don't expect you to have them, pal.
Mate, all I know is they're dreadful.
Okay. That'll do. That'll do. Ricky says Rhian is a great personality, but I think he's surplus if we go up. But let's face facts. Wilder loves him, and he will get a new contract, and he will stay. Probably will feature in the Prem. I'm not convinced Wilder loves him. I think Wilder recognises he's a confidence player and does absolutely everything he can to get the best out of him. Personally, maybe Brewster needs to go back to Swansea. And my point for it is that he had his best goal record as a player there. May spark that confidence back in him, says Nige. But me personally, I wouldn't give him another contract. But thank you for what you gave us last weekend. That will stick with us Blades forever. So we've bought Cannon. He's our saviour in the Premier League. He doesn't even get in the team. Another Wilder masterstroke, says Walt. He was unlucky with injury for 2 years. Is that Brewster that you mean now? McBurney used to get loads of stick. He came good in the end. Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract, says Beast Boy. Sign the contract, big boy. Keep Campbell fit from now till now and pre-season. He'll be a Premier League player, says Maury. Cannon will be even worse in the Prem, says James. Completely wrong build for what we need. No pace, no strength, no athleticism. Should never have signed him. Okay, lads, talk to me about this Cannon stick. What are we thinking? What we're thinking? I'm obviously on the. It's way too early to judge him as a player. I don't think he's had a steady run in the team. If he gets 3 back-to-back starts and looks poor, then you can start maybe thinking, it's not really working at the moment. He hasn't even had that. He hasn't even had 3 full games for us. So what's your thoughts, lads?
I think the way that we play is I think we've brought another forward, and I thought this about Kiefer Moore as well, who he needs to get in front of goal. I feel like he's one of those players who is a finisher. If you look at his stats. Stats are decent for this season, but if you look at his goals, I don't think we've certainly not seen the best of him, because he scores some really good goals. His finishing's really, really strong. He is only 20. Is he 22? He's really young, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So he has got a lot to learn. I think Kiefer Moore, I don't think we've used him. We haven't got the players to service him the way that he needs to score.
And he's struggled with injury as well, hasn't he?
He has, but when he came in for Ipswich, they had Leif Davis and guys slinging balls into him left, right, and centre, and a lot of his goals were headers and getting on the end of things. Like,
you think Burrows could do that? Leif Davis and Harrison Burrows aren't 2 dissimilar players, I don't think.
It does depend on how you use them. You're right, Jim, yeah. But Leif Davis has had, what did he get? Like 18 assists or something stupid in the Championship.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Like crazy, weren't it? And he was given a bit of license, I think, to go. Just, off you go. I think it's same with Clark, really, by the look of it. He looks to be like an attacking fullback, if you want. or a wing back. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think he's been used in that way, and hence I don't think we've seen the best of him. And yeah, his output hasn't been amazing for us, but like you said, he hasn't had a big run of games. The trouble we've got is how long can you give people runs of games and expect and want something to happen? Do you know what I mean? It's hard, isn't it, for Cannon? I wish he'd get a goal, because I think if he does, there might be more to it. I think technically he's a really good finisher. I think
agree.
the way that we play Campbell with Hamer and O'Hare, it's what we need. We need a guy to run the shoulders and run the channel and make the run. And Campbell's shown he can do that, and his finishing's been really, really, really good this season. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's very, very early to sort of throw him in the dustbin, considering we've spent 10 million on him. And we've still got a lot of our supporters giving Rhian Brewster a chance 4.5 years in, and and Cannon's been chucked under the bus after 5.
And played 4.5 games, Cannon.
Yeah. So you have feelings for players, and you like them and you don't like them, but just for the and again, I'm not trying to upset anybody, but Rhian Brewster's stats, best return for us is this season 3 goals, 3 assists in 29 matches. He only played 16 and 14 in the Championship before, scoring 1 and 3, and then in the Premier League he got 27 matches, 0 goals, 0 assists. And then 13 games, 0 goals, 0 assists.
I've just got to top those up, as well. Lee's just sent me a few stats. In minutes played in all competitions is an average of 925 minutes per season since he's been with us. So he's only been available and played 10.3 games in a season over 5 seasons. He's scored 8 goals and has 4 assists in all competitions since he came here. Less than 10 goals. 12 goal involvements in total in 4.5 years.
Yeah. So we couldn't, for example, even you can't hang a season on him for, maybe it's not his fault for the injuries, but you couldn't go into a season with him as your main striker going, oh, we've got Rhian Brewster. I do like, you look at those numbers and you think that's abysmal, and it is abysmal.
It is.
And like you say, minutes played, it's not a lot. 16 games, 14 games, 13 games. He's had those seasons where he just hasn't played very much at all. He's got 27 in one in a really struggling team and 29 in the other. So that's a bit better, isn't it? But yeah.
Luke's saying here, I've got a feeling Wilder gives Brewster a new contract. I think Brewster would be happy to stay even further down the pecking order. Well, why are we bothering then? Why are we bothering? Dave, come on. That triggered Dave the Nose.
Well, why as a professional would he be happy? Surely that he can't be. Surely he cannot be thinking, well, I might be 4th or 5th choice striker in Premier League. I might get 5 minutes here or there if I'm lucky, but that's all right. Surely he can't be thinking like that.
No. And if he is, then he's not somebody you'd want as part of the squad, is he? You want somebody that's chomping at a bit to get in.
Absolutely. Not champing.
Champing or chomping. Can't remember which one I said it was. So.
I think for the betterment of him, it'd be best going to Preston or Swansea. And I think there's slightly less pressure, isn't there?
Would you? Okay, because we talked about this earlier in the season, and we'll move off from Rhian in a minute because I need to get some more comments in. But would you consider, if we're promoted, extending his deal, loaning him out to the Championship, maybe a 2+1 or a 1+1, loaning him out to the Championship? If he hits some form for somebody and we probably inevitably come back down, he may well then be an asset for us if he's had a season of 40 games under his belt, 15 goals. He's worth coming back into the mix then, isn't he, at 26-year-old? That might be the only sort of way around it, really. But he can't be involved in the first team picture in the Premier League. He can't.
There's no loss there, because if somebody takes him on loan, he won't be able to command big money from his contract because the stats don't stack up for him. That's the truth. So he'll be taking either a lesser contract, and we certainly wouldn't pay what we pay him in the first contract. That's for sure. I don't think the club could think about that. But
Yeah,
if that happens, Jim, there's no loss there, is there? So if we did take him and someone took his wages off us for the season, what have we lost? A chance that he might hit some form, come back to us and do well. Don't forget, Billy Sharp, one of the best strikers we've ever had, he had 3 goes at it. So,
yeah.
And he's still a young player.
What a legend.
What a legend. So if he did, yes, exactly. So if he did go away, did really well for a season, and someone else paid his money, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? But for the first team picture, the only way that he stays in our first team picture is if we go down. And I'd love it now if this was the goal that changes the whole picture for him. He scores 4 goals, wins us a couple of games between now and the end of the season. As fans, I think that would be the ideal situation. Do you know what I mean? It would be to do that and loan him back, but don't take him up with us because he's not there not right now.
Okay. Nath says the irony that Max Lowe will go off injured in the derby in front of the Blades End. Yeah. Personally, I think I'd sign Brewster, says Danny Boy, and send him out on loan, get him some game time, and then sell him, as he might bring an eventual fee. If we go up then down again, we know there's a decent champ player who can come back. So sorry, Danny, I'd not seen that when I proposed it there. Would you seriously trust Wilder with the money in the Premier League? This is a fallacy, this. Absolute fallacy. Would any of you have problems with Chris Wilder having money in the Premier League?
No, can we save that one for the summer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just on this sign him and loan him out malarkey.
Okay.
I can't see a world where he signs a 1+1 where he's going to be going out on loan. Just don't think it happens. It just doesn't make sense from his perspective. I don't think it makes sense from our perspective.
Don't come into these conversations with common sense, Dave.
No, and then I know it's so well. If he goes out and he does well, and we come back down, then we've got what if he goes out, continues to not do very well, and we come down, and then we've got out of our budget, we've got a player that we're paying for that still isn't hitting, and it will be 5 years, or 5.5 years, or 6 years since he first joined us.
Well, that's why it'd be a 1+1, wouldn't it? But you're right. The player's unlikely to sign him.
Right. That's a moot point. He is no way is he going to sign a 1. Why would he? Why would he sign a 1+1 and go out on loan?
Because maybe we give him a better financial deal than other championship sides.
Why? Right. So we're going to.
We would offer him, for example, 20 grand a week.
Right. But
And West Brom might come in with 15. And we say we've got a pre-arranged deal with Swansea that says, so you can get Rhian Brewster next year, we want you to agree to pay 15 grand a week or whatever it is towards his wages. But this will stop West Brom coming in and nabbing him for now.
Again, that just to me, that's just like, why?
So you can get a fee for him.
Week. Why?
So you can get a fee for him. So if he scores 15 goals, someone's going to buy him for 3 million. That's why.
So you're gambling again.
The alternative is you just let him go for now.
Yeah, but at some point you've got to use your head a little bit and say it's time to move on. This one hasn't worked. Stop trying to conjure up and engineer ways where suddenly we look back on it and think, actually, it's turned out all right. It'd be 5 years. We have got to at some point just stop and go, you know what?
Stop talking sense, Dave.
I want him going out in a blaze of glory, Dave, where he scores the goal.
I love it. Mate,
that gets us promoted. That gets us promoted, right? A banger. He scores a banger that gets us promoted, and we can leave satisfied with that 20 million quid outlay because he'll have earned us.
If he gets another 3 goals this season, does he earn a new contract?
No,
Jimmy. Honestly, how many of these you got? Dear me.
No.
Wilder said in his interview that Cannon has pace. Cannon hasn't got any pace, says James. I don't think he's bad. I think he's deceptively quick, personally. He doesn't even play Cannon, waste of money. James and Walter, you two could go out together for a little drink and talk about this, I think. Brewster is a better all-round player than Cannon. I'm not having that. New Breed City, says Charlie. Nige says, feeling sorry. Sentiment for a player doesn't get you promoted. Quality players do. Brewster is 4th choice, and that says everything. Same with Robbo. Need to face facts that some of the new lads may not get a look in for me. Personally, if we want to stay in the Prem, If promoted, you need to think about the club, as Jimmy says. Evening, boys, says Big Mally. Man Mountain has just made me depressed about Brewster now, but he speaks sense. We all got carried away after Sunday, but in reality, it won't be a Premier quality if we go up. Daniel says, hope you're well, Jim. I personally want Robbo as number 3 centre-back in the Championship, but I also feel pretty happy with him as number 3 in the Prem. Remember, he was undoubtedly top 2 best players last season, proven in the Prem. Hold me back, boys. Hold me back.
How many goals did we concede?
104, David. 104 goals we conceded last year with this defensive partnership that we're playing now.
Oh, no.
We haven't got time. We're over an hour. We haven't got time to
And
get into that.
And Anel was part of that as well.
Anel was part of that.
And he was better than Anel.
Oh, no. Daniel, respect your opinion, pal, but I could not disagree more. I do think we need to free up some space, says Maury, and the Gulfing Premier League is 10 times above the Championship. Fran says, we've invested in Rhian and he's only 24. You can't just let that walk away for free. I think you can. Tie him down and he could be good in the Champ next season. If we go up, loan him out and then he's Champ ready. If we go down, that's what's best for the club. Dave's right. Let's face facts. Dave the Nose really knows, and he's not going to sign a 1+1, is he? So if we sign him on anything longer than that, we are taking the risk as a club because there's no guarantee that he performs next season in the Championship, whoever it's for, and we've got a liability, unfortunately, which is what it's classed as on the books, on our payroll. James says you can't, in good faith, argue to move Brewster on, who tries every game and who contributes on occasion, and defend the Tom Cannon signing, who chases the game, has no pace and no strength. How on earth can you judge a player after not even 4.5 games, but you're willing to give Brewster a chance after 4.5 years? It absolutely belies me. I cannot. Wow. Gussie's and again, that's James's opinion, but I can't see how people can judge Cannon so quickly. I can't. He's not had any sort of run in the side at all. And rightly so. I'm not saying he should get a run inside. Ty Campbell is on fire. So Tyrese Campbell's in there on merit. And it's great for him that he's keeping a £10 million signing on the bench. But gee whiz, what Tom Cannon, poor kid. If he came for £2 million, nobody's talking about him. They're saying it's a great addition to the squad. You know, shrewd signing, all this sort of. It's because we've spent big money on him. That wasn't Cannon's choice, by the way. Gus is pre-ready. He's Prem ready, I think that means. But has to be central. He's incredible in possession, but we will not get away with the amount of space he allows by drifting inside whilst out of possession. See the Leeds performance. Go on, Paul.
Tom Cannon scored more goals in one game this season than Rhian Brewster has in an entire season playing for Sheffield United since he got here. 4 goals.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it in this courtroom.
4 goals in a game. He's got what's he got? 10 or 11 this season.
Yeah.
You know, we've just got to give him a chance. Brewster ticks onto in the next game. Will tick onto 100 games for the club in the league. 100 league games in the club. And Tom Cannon's had 4.
I'm going to try and apologize because I'll miss some comments here. If I've already read one of your comments out, I'm going to have to skip over it because we are well behind. But Rai says, Brewster, give him a 3-year deal and get him loaned out for a year and assess. Either becomes good or sell for a fee rather than let go for nothing. So this ties it, and I appreciate, Rai, you've said it before Dave made his point, but this ties into exactly what Dave's saying. If he doesn't perform, we've now got a player on our books for 2 years that we probably can't get rid of for a fee if he doesn't perform again. So it doesn't always work. You might end up paying him off, which is a terrible deal for the club. In Ryan's defence, he has had Rhian's defence, he's really bad injuries, which take a lot of healing. He may have been that player we expected without the injuries. Yeah, we'll never know, will we, John, to be fair. David says, I would take Sargent from Norwich up front. I would too. I think he's a good player and he's done well in the Premier League in the past, maybe not consistently. Rev says 100% we need 6 minimum Premier League quality players if we have any chance of staying up. This time, if we go up, we need to go for it. Go on, mate.
Physicality.
Athleticism. Yeah.
Athletic. We need to be able to compete physically.
We need 6 Vinny Sousas, don't we?
No, we need fast.
In terms of stature and athleticism, that's what you need.
Mate, we need more. Yeah, we need fast. We need strong. We need big. We need to be able to compete with the guys because it is a different different world.
I agree with this. I agree with everything you're saying, and I appreciate we're over time anyway. But would you take Harry Suter in the Premier League? I would. I would. I think he's done enough in our side to. Sometimes players fit clubs, don't they? And I think he fit, certainly for the players that we had at the time, I think he fit us perfectly. I'm not saying he'll be brilliant in the Premier League, and I think he might even, get caught out at times because he does lack pace. But I think he'd be a good signing for us. He improves us.
Down to his recovery.
Yeah, it is. That's true. That's true as well.
Really, I wouldn't buy him. I'd maybe loan with option or loan with obligation if we stay up or something. If they'll do that deal, but I wouldn't. He's by the time he comes back, I think it's going to be too risky. We're not going to be able to see what sort of state he's in.
I think
comes, whatever. I think Suter's coming, whatever.
Yeah.
The way he came back, waving
well,
I've got a feeling even if we didn't get promoted, I think we'd sign him.
Do you think Shea Charles comes? Do you think if we're promoted, Shea Charles comes? Wilder were in his ear again, weren't he, at final whistle?
I would like him to.
That'd be decent, wouldn't it? CC says Liam Delap would love to get him, but that would be some price. That is never going to happen. Never going to happen. Andrew says, which player in the current squad could do a Lundstrom in the Prem? Good question. Any pictures for that, lads?
Lundstrom was the most bizarre thing I've ever. When you think back to it, a guy that can't get a run for you in the Championship comes in and is arguably your most impressive player in the Premier League. I've never seen it.
No, it's crazy, isn't it?
It was really unusual. I can't see anybody on the fringes of our team at the moment being able to do.
I think maybe the closest one this season that's done it in the Championship would be somebody like Sidi Peck or Femi Sariki that's pretty much come from nowhere. Femi Sariki, maybe in terms of the turnaround that he's had, expectations to reality. Because he couldn't get in the Rotherham side last year. He struggled on loan at Rochdale, and he comes into Sheffield United and he looks in possession. He looks so good. So there's different things, but I agree. There's not really a Lundstrom type that stands out. Isidore would be my main target. What a player, says Harry. He's a good player. He's a good player. Michael Fisher says Piggies didn't like Wilder's celebrations, and that's enough for me. He's a proper blade. Up the blades, up the Ramble. Go on then, Paolo.
The season before we got promoted, John Lundstrom appeared in 10 matches in the Championship and got 1 assist.
It's pretty much like Jamie Shackleton coming in and being the new Kevin De Bruyne, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like Peck's got 25 games already this year.
Yeah. What about Andre Brooks?
Andre Brooks could be. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout. It's not going to happen, but it could be.
John Lundstrom phenomenon. 34 games the following season. Shocking.
Bryce says, evening peeps, how we all doing? Heart rate's gone down yet, lads? Just about, pal. Dave Clement says, according to Told Sausage Roll, we'll meet again in the playoffs. One arrogant boxhead. I think he said that pre-game, didn't he? I haven't really heard him say that since. Jimmy, for the 9th game running, are you going to call for Holding to replace Robbo? Yes, but my callings are falling on deaf ears. How can I put this? I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with this. Who are our best 2 central defenders, lads? Look at him. Look at Mountain trying to take a tip. So that
mate, I'm bored of it. I'm bored of it. It's like watching Murray get out of bed.
Sorry to be a ball.
It's not the thing again. It's Groundhog Day, mate. It's the same things every time. It don't matter what he does.
That's it. Sell the show.
Mate,
I think we'll get
you are not gonna change your mind. You are not gonna change your mind on him at all. And that's all right. That's all right. We get it. But you are not gonna change your mind. He could do anything. He could do 7 goal line clearances and then headbutt a walrus, and you'd be like, "Oh no, he's rubbish."
Yeah, but why did he get sent off with that walrus?
Well, the Eggman.
Lee says, I think we get promoted at Stoke. No, you hope we get promoted at Stoke because you're doing Ramble on the road there. But knowing my luck, it'll go to a Blackburn game, which I'm having to miss due to my son's wedding. What a selfish son. I know we've talked about this, Lee. Terrible planning by them 2 years ago. Absolutely right. Nath says, if Blackburn are out of the playoff hunt by the last game of the season, they aren't doing Burnley any favours. That's true as well. Martin says, evening, lads. My two neighbours are staunch piggies. Not seen them since Sunday. Hiding under their rocks. I'm assuming they're not in the good books. I assume I'm not in the good books, but I have a nice little banner on the gate asking who put the, I assume is the ball in the Wednesday net, but I haven't seen the rest of the message. Cov will win the playoffs for me, says Matt. Got to get top 2 to go up. Graham says, sorry, just arrived, Cov fan, but love the Blades Ramble. Thank you, mate. Looking forward to our game playing Cov's B team. Cov's B team? I hope we do play Cov's B team. Is that what you mean? Oh, does he mean like Gus Hamer, Callum O'Hare? Is that how he thinks he's Cov's B? Maybe. Gus is a god. Callum O'Hare is different class. Oddly, mainly Cov fans, although loving Gus, he still comes to CBS to watch games. Yeah, I've heard that as well. I don't mind that. I don't mind players going back and, showing that they care about their former clubs. Cannon's been used as an impact sub because Campbell can only manage up to 70 minutes, says Craig. We're yet to see any impact at all. Disappointing for 10 million plus. Up the Blades. Up the Ramble.
So far, yeah, I agree.
So far, yeah, that's fair. I don't think Cannon has had enough minutes, says Sarah, and does not get the service he prefers, but I also think his positioning in the box when service does come in is not what it should be. He's always on the wrong side of the defender. Maybe bad luck. I don't know. We shall see. Neil says, I think Cannon has the kiss of death like Archer got being Jimmy's big love. And the more thing is we don't seem to get crosses in from the byline. We always check back and Brewster around 8 million in wages. Okay. Jumbo Craddock says, and people want to give him a new deal. I don't know what that's in. I know that's about Brewster, but Dan says, Rhian Brewster, baby. Rhian Brewster, oh. Finn says, 1 Burnley, 2 Blades. Cov playoff winners. Can't see us winning at yours, but maybe a draw. Can see us beat in Burnley at ours. Play up Sky Blues. I'll take that. If we get a draw against Coventry, if you can guarantee me that you'll beat Burnley, I'll take that. I'll take that deal, Finn, and I'll take your finishing deal as well. To be honest, Tom says, talking about who you need in the Premier League when you're not there yet, and you call Leeds fans. I don't know one point where we didn't say if we're lucky enough to get there. Is it not worth thinking about what we would need if we were to get there? I think it is.
So what's arrogant about saying we need 6 players better than
I
our
know.
best player? I don't think that's too arrogant, is it? That's what's going.
Yeah, we are nowhere near good enough
to stay alive
at the moment. Yeah, Brewster stays. If we paid the money and need to give him a shirt now, he's fit. Why splash out more? Pay as you play, says Steven Snell.
No
again,
one has a pay as you play deal.
Why would he sign it?
With a pay as you play deal.
Yeah, why would he sign it? Jamie Dumpling. Got to say, I think Robbo has been really good recently, but for me, Nell needs someone to rabbit in his ear, and Robbo doesn't offer that, but Holding does. To quote a Blade, when Holding comes on, my blood pressure plummets. Nice. I like that. Okay. I think that's the end of the comments so far. Sorry if I've missed a few comments out there, but I've just tried to make sure I read at least one from everybody, because we've been going on for an hour and 12 minutes, and the Man Mountain gets bored. So, what can I say? Unbelievable. Absolutely unreal. Lads, anything you want to sort us out with before we go? Anything you want to say?
All right. Is that how we're done? I was going to say.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. Have you got a list?
Who's getting relegated? Who's going to get in the playoffs? Should we save them for another day?
Oh, don't. I'm bored. Don't.
Oh, no. But what about Rhian? Right. Jim, Rhian Brewster. Would you give him a deal? Jim, what do you think?
This is answering
what do you think to Jack Robinson?
People put in the chat.
Mountain, tell us what you think of him, mate. Honestly, I don't know. He's going to play, isn't he? Robbo's going to play for the rest of the season now. I thought that Holding was being primed to be centre stage. I think Robbo's going to play the rest of them now.
I do. Don't mean I have to enjoy it, does it? So, look, I'll support him. He's in a Blade shirt. He's the captain of the team. I can have a preference. I can have a preference.
Player of the season last year, wasn't he? Do you remember that? You were on about that. Saying
how many goals did we concede? And
awards will be good if you go.
I
know, yeah.
I'm being stitched up here. Right.
You that Jimmy off the internet. I can hear him.
Right. Yeah, I know. Right, thank you to everybody for your comments, apart from Man Mountain. Thank you to everybody for taking part. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. I've muted him. Go on.
Have you? Up the plate.
Hey!